Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to episode 6 of Spirit Rebels. I was about to say brand new podcast, but we're halfway through the first season now, Helen, aren't we?
I know, I can't believe it. Time is flying by, just like this year, really.
Oh, I know. I always think because the day that we're recording it is 1st of September, and I always think once we hit September, those kids get back to school. It's Halloween, it's bonfire night, it's Christmas, and then I'm
Yeah.
just not ready for. I mean, don't get me wrong, my heart is secretly squeezing at the thought of the nights cutting in and the leaves
Really?
turning gold. Oh, I love autumn. It's the witches' time of year. It's also my busiest time of year because I end up with like 400 witch school launches and different courses and stuff happening. But it's like, oh, it's my absolute favorite time of year.
I love like getting your comfy jumpers on and all of that. And I like wearing tights and getting your boots on and things. But what I don't like is because I do a lot of driving, it's when the dark nights come in and you leave when it's dark, you get home when it's dark, everything's on your lights, when you're driving and your eyes are more tired. And
Yeah.
that's the bit I don't like. But I do love like autumn and I love seeing the leaves change and yeah, just starting to get warm and cozy.
Well, this for a witch, don't you know? This time of year is it's so. If you think about the whole year, the different seasons have different energies, I guess. And this time of year for us is all about releasing, letting go. It's about gratitude, looking back over the year at everything that you've learned, everything you've achieved, everything that you're grateful for. And it's the summer because of the big sun, that's big masculine energies of achieving and doing and going forwards. This time of year is where we're kind of like, oh, you breathe out. It's the evening of the year. It's where you get to breathe out. You take off your bra. You can just not for the
My
whole
boobs would be on the
season.
floor.
You get the vibe I'm going for though. It's the out breath of the year after being
Yeah.
having such a busy full summer of action. This is where we get to just and let go and relax and let's just stop a bit. And I love that, and I love every season, but I'm always just running a little bit early. So like I'm ready for autumn now, but like, and I find you saying that I'm never ready for winter because I'm frightened of the snow because I don't like having to drive in the snow.
And you
Um,
get a lot of snow where you live, whereas we don't get so much down here. I get
yeah,
ice, but not, very rarely we get snow.
yeah.
But I remember living up there, what those snow wintry times were like, and it was a blimmin' shock to reality.
Yeah, it can be quite scary. I mean, where we are now in Prudhoe, it's not too bad because we're quite sheltered. But I mean, where my parents are, when we grew up, and where I lived for quite a long time, and when the kids were little, I mean, those roads, like if it comes snowy, you're calling a snow day. You absolutely are. It's just, I don't know how these places cope, like, the depths of Canada, where it's like -15 every day, and they're just like, oh yeah, just another day, put
Just
another
normal,
layer.
isn't it?
Yeah, and say, oh
Yeah.
my
Well,
God,
we cannot cope in the UK with
no.
anything that's sort of above 18 degrees and dry, really. It all goes to pot otherwise. Oh my goodness.
We're quite mediocre people, aren't we? We can't cope with the heat. We can't cope with the
Yeah.
cold. It's just like, no, we just need to just puddle along in the drizzle is what we need to do
Yeah.
all the
Drizzle and a bit of
time.
cloud. We're okay then.
Man, I tell you what, I am not enjoying with this weather at the moment is the spiders. Have you experienced any of these
Oh,
massive
well,
spiders? Oh my
yeah.
God.
I live in an old house as well, so I've got a lot of cracks and holes, and they're everywhere. And on the whole, Lily and I we're quite hardcore. We're brave. We can take the spiders, but I have started getting some proper big brown ones, and I'm like, oh, are
Mm.
those what are they called? The something widows, not black widows. The
Oh, I don't know.
what are those ones that we get in the UK? The not poisonous, but they give
Oh,
you a nasty bite.
oh God, I don't know, but I'm
I've
frightened
forgotten.
already. Don't
Oh
know.
yeah. Well, let's stop talking about it then, because yeah, you're more frightened of them than me. So,
Well,
well, because I'm the man of the house as well as the woman in the house, I just have to deal with it all. There's no choice. Just
You
got
just
to get
have to
on
get
with
on
it.
it. Well, I can handle most spiders, but like it's very rare that a spider will give me the heebie-jeebies. But me and Paul were sat watching the telly the other night, Rings of Power new series. Oh my God, brilliant. Anyway, sat there and we sit with the lights out because it's like make the pretendy cinema experience. And so I seen movement out the corner of my eye across the floor, and this spider was so big I thought it was a freaking mouse. Honest to
Oh my
God, it
God.
was huge. Went under the sofa. There was big palaver. We find well,
Oh.
I say we got it out, Paul got it out because I did need rescued on this one. But funny story about spiders. My child Tabitha was off for a sleepover a week back at a friend's house, and they were camping on her friend's living room floor, and that's whatever. So off to bed we go, and then about 1:30, 1:45, Paul starts kicking me awake. Your phone's going mental. What's going on? I pick my phone up, and it's just WhatsApp message after WhatsApp message from Tabby. There's an alive spider on the floor. Mom, help! What do I do? Please answer, Mom. Please, where are you? I'm like, oh. So I then had to I was like, wake your friend up, and she's like, I've tried, but she just keeps mumbling at me. What can I do? I'm like, I don't know. Oh my God, can spiders climb? I'm sure it won't.
Oh, bless her.
Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, yes, let's move away from spiders and all that jazz. And this week, oh Helen, it's a big one this week. We are talking about body image. Now,
Oh.
there's so much we could talk about. In fact, you could launch an entire podcast just looking at body image, how we feel about ourselves,
Mm.
from our faces to aging to weight to size, shape, hair, everything. So I guess today it is going to be a little like a nutshell version of covering all those kind of things. But I know it's something, I don't think I have a single client that I work with privately that actually is, or friend or anyone that I know that is 100% confident and happy in their
Mm.
own skin.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Absolutely. I mean, I'm definitely not 100%. I'm trying to think about my friends actually, because we're all different shapes and sizes and heights and things. There's a couple that I'd say on the whole are pretty much happy, but I bet if you sat them down and said, what would you change? They'd be able to list at least three things.
Yeah, yeah. And it's as well, I think there are people who wear their insecurities visibly for everyone to see, so they don't come across as very confident. But there's a lot of people, well, I guess you and I are both like that. We are
Mm.
confident people, we're loud, we're bright, we're shiny, and other people might look at us and think, wow, they are so confident, they must feel really comfortable in themselves. And they're always telling everyone else how to be magical and confident and everything else. They must have their shit together completely, but we don't, do we?
Oh, no, 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 no.
We've just got good at putting a smile on it and hiding our fears and insecurities about what we look like. That's the only difference, isn't it,
Well,
really?
it's like what you look like and also how you feel when you put clothes on, for example. So I am quite, I'd say, a feminine dresser. I love dresses. I live in dresses pretty much. And I think on the whole, I dress to my body shape. I'm a curvy woman. I'm absolutely not skinny. I've never been skinny, even as a child. So, it's just not in me. So I've learned to, I think, present my personality through my clothes. However, that's just one element of it,
Yeah.
isn't it? You go out and you think, oh yeah, I look nice today. I feel good. But that's because I've picked something which maybe flatters in the areas I'm say have more hang-ups on. And
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to wear, I look at all these girls that wear tight jeans and or just really nice trousers and nice tops. And I think, oh, my body shape doesn't really work with that. And I'd love to be able to wear that. So I can't help but look at people and compare myself
Yeah.
all the time. Even if I'm not necessarily beating myself up, I'll always think, oh, I'd love to be able to wear something like that.
And I guess what I would say, and I have exactly the same feelings because the stuff, on when you're scrolling, shopping and things, and the stuff that I looking at, I go, oh my God, I love that, but I couldn't wear that. And I guess what I need to question there for myself and for you is, do we not buy these things? Do we not wear these things because we are dressing to for our body shape? Or do we not buy those things because we don't feel that we are good enough to wear
Mm.
something like that. I mean, who is it that says that style of clothing's good for that body shape and that style of clothing's good for that body shape? Who makes these rules? You know,
Well,
the
exactly. And
fashion industry, which
I know, yes, yeah. And I follow a lot of people actually on Instagram, curvier women, and they've started doing this big trend. You've probably seen it loads of times where they'll have, say, I don't know, a size 22, a size 16, and a size 10 in the
yeah,
same outfit. And actually, that's quite good. And that's given me a bit of hope because actually all three women look amazing in
yeah,
this one outfit. So it's proving that that same outfit can go across all of those different body shapes,
yeah.
different weight, they're different heights, everything. But you're right. I mean, but the thing is, the fashion industry and the beauty industry, if they don't want us all loving our bodies,
They
because
absolutely
otherwise they
don't.
won't make any money.
They don't. And just before we came on to record, I did a little bit of research. Can I share my facts and findings with you?
Yeah, love a stat. Love a
Yeah.
stat.
So I looked it up, and the beauty industry worldwide at this current time has been valued at more than 400, sorry, $646 billion worldwide.
Blimey.
1.7 billion is for the UK alone. So all that money. And the weight loss industry, so the big commercial weight loss stuff,
Mm.
has been valued at more than $224 billion worldwide. 47.6 billion of them are for Europe. And you know what? It just shows, doesn't it, that by buying all these products that are apparently going to make us perfect, we're just lining the pockets of
Mm.
other people. And when you look, and you can't escape advertising, whether it's on a billboard, a bus stop, a Facebook scrolling, TikTok, the radio, anything, wherever you go, there are adverts for beauty products, weight loss products,
Mm.
look better, look better, look better. And none of these adverts say, hey, you are beautiful and gorgeous as you are. However, why don't you try this?
Yeah.
Or the entire marketing strategy behind the beauty industry and the weight loss industry is all about making you feel shit about what you look like currently so that you will, well, they do. It's like they may as well say you are really,
Yeah.
really ugly. But if you wear our mascara, you won't be. You'll be amazing. I mean, that's what all these adverts underneath are to do. Because if you see a face cream advert, right? They don't pick a normal person to use the face cream. They pick someone and then they airbrush the shit out of them so the skin isn't even real anyway. So you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm having quite a nice skin day today. And then you see this advert and you're like, oh, but I should be looking like that. Shit. Oh, God, I'm old, I'm ugly. So what do? You then click the button, buy the product, line these people's pockets, and there's nothing fucking wrong with your skin. It's absolutely fine the way it is. Sorry, gonna just come down off my soapbox
I
a little.
can't tell you how much money I've spent on products because I am a marketer's dream. It's an ongoing joke amongst my friends. One of my friends, bless her, she listens to the podcast. She had a really, really, very, very cheap mascara. Not mascara, sorry, moisturizer. And I
Uh-huh.
was going, why have you got this moisturizer? This is not good for your skin. And I've introduced her to a middle of the road one. So not hugely expensive, but a
Yeah.
lot more expensive than what she was spending her money on. And to be fair, she has turned around and gone, oh my God, it's transformed my face. So, but it just makes me chuckle because in most cases, it's like when you buy paracetamol, isn't it, from the
Yeah.
supermarket? In most cases, I don't know, Tesco own or Sainsbury's own or whatever, is got all the same ingredients in as freaking the expensive ranges. I don't even know what those ones are because I don't
Yeah.
buy them, like your Nurophens of the world or whatever. And it is a bit like that with our makeup products and stuff, but I can't help but with makeup particularly and creams, I do love a nice product.
Yeah.
So I do subscribe to it, Shelley, which is one of the problems.
But you know what, right? If they're making you feel good, then that's fine. And you could go into a whole entire new level about looking at the chemicals that's in them and research that's been
Mm.
done and all that. And I don't think this episode, is where we need to take that, because what we're here to talk about is why we feel the need to do this extra stuff, and the fact that it's because we don't feel good enough in ourselves as to who we are. I mean, if I, so one of the things that I do when I do a Reiki course, and we get a bunch of new people together, I always start with a bit of an icebreaker. And my favorite question to people is, right, tell me, I'd like to do three, but no one can ever can. Tell me one thing you love about yourself. Either tell me one thing you love about yourself in terms of personality, and one thing you love about yourself in terms of your physical appearance. And everyone goes, um, and then they get all weird and they can't answer or they won't answer. One day I'm going to run a course and I'll have someone on it and go, I love my bum, or I love my hips, or I love my arms, or I love my, whatever. And then if they're brave enough to do it, they'll come up with their eyes, because there's not much you can actually
Well, go on
criticize
then.
about
What's
your
the
eyes.
three things you love about you?
Shut up, Helen. Don't throw that shit back at me.
No, come on, come on. Come on, tell us.
The thing is, though, this is an absolute, and I can't, because I struggle. I mean, I will, but it's something that it's not a comfortable thing to talk about, is it?
And see, I can see Shelley, obviously, I know you can't, but I can see how uncomfortable she got when I threw that back at her. I know what you're saying. We all struggle with that. But go on, let's do it. Let's do it
Okay.
for let's
Okay.
do it
What
for
do we
our
like?
listeners. So are we're talking physical attributes
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
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 Not personality traits, physical attributes. Okay.
Yes.
You
Okay.
go for your three and I'll go for mine. So you go first.
It's really difficult. So I'm going to go for eyes because it's the easiest one
Cop
to do.
out, cop out, listeners.
Yeah.
She just said everybody goes for eyes, but go on then, eyes. Okay, they are
Um,
beautiful, by the way.
because thank you. Because it is, I think we find it difficult because, again, we've been conditioned to believe that we're not meant to feel good about ourselves. It's actually wrong to like what you look like, unless you are some sort of supermodel. It's wrong to like what you look like. But it's, so I would say my eyes. I like my lips, like the shape of my lips. I've got a bit of a Cupid's bow going on, which
Yeah,
I
yeah.
quite like. And then if we're going to be honest, Helen, that's where I stop.
Really? Oh my
That
God,
is
there's so
that
many beautiful things
where we
about
stop.
you.
But
Cannot believe
this,
you're saying that.
but this, isn't it funny though, how because our brains instantly go to critical. So I'll be like scanning down over my body and
Mm,
I'll go, right, I'll say this, no, no, no. I'll say this, no, can't, no, no. I'll say no, 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 no. And I'll pull myself down. But when somebody else looks at you, it's
yeah,
almost like when somebody else looks at you, they see a different person to the person that
yeah,
we see when we look at ourselves in the mirror.
that is so true. So I would go on me, my smile,
Yeah, we got a beautiful smile.
my skin. I think I've got good skin. Particularly for a woman of my age now.
A woman
And
of
I would
your age. You sound like you're like 75 or something.
And I'm
Jesus.
gonna say my boobs. I love my boobs.
Good.
They're a good ample size, you know.
She's squeezing her boobs as we talk, can I just say? I'm so using this bit for the trailer for this week, by the way.
Oh dear. But no, I do love my boobs. But it's funny, if you think back to say, friends or ex-partners or partners, current partners, for me it's exes, but for you it's current, Shelley. But if you think about things they say that they like and you, like you say before, what they're seeing is completely different. Like my ex was obsessed with my bum. He thought I had a gorgeous bum. I would never pick that in a million years as a bit of my body that I would go, I think that is attractive.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think I always say to Paul, are you just weird? Are you just weird saying that's attractive? And you'll listen to this and he'll be laughing away at it because he'll give me compliments or something, and I can't. I'm the worst person for taking compliments. I just cannot take it. He'll like, maybe it's a bit too much information, but like if I'm getting changed or whatever, you know how boys do, he'll come over and like I'll say snuggle me because that's the
Yeah.
best way to describe it. Like those moments where you bend over to put pans away in the pan cupboard, then they
Yeah.
come up behind you and you're just like, every time. And
Oh, but that's lovely.
he's like, are we even together if I don't do this? It's just a thing. But like he'll like make growly noises or whatever, and I'm like, how can you even think that is attractive? How can that like be a thing for you? And he's just like, he looks at me like I'm mad. I'm looking at him
Yeah.
like he's mad, and I'm pretty certain that I'm not the only woman on the planet that feels this way.
No, I think many do, but why are we conditioned? And men will be the same. Men will
Absolutely, yeah.
have the same insecurities with their own bodies, and but again, somebody will be looking at them thinking, "God, I wish I had their pecs, or I wish I had whatever their calves," but they can't see it themselves. But that's the bit I don't get. Why does our brains, our own brains, for each and every one of us as individuals, cause us these blockers and not allow us to see what others see?
Because we've been told it's wrong to like yourself.
And maybe you'll have an ego if you say,
Yeah,
"Oh, I think I'm quite good
yeah,
looking." Somebody go, "Oh, look
it's
how they love
bad.
themselves." Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
think like that. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure we've talked about this before on one of the other episodes. Think back to school and oh my God, how much does she love herself?
yeah.
It's never a compliment, is it?
No, rather than, "Oh, look how confident she is." Isn't
Yeah.
it amazing how she, um, walks around with all that confidence and femininity? Yeah, we would never say that. We'd be
No.
like, "Oh God, she's a right whatever."
Yeah, yeah. She's how up herself is she or him?
Yeah.
How much does he love? Oh my God, he just loves himself. Like, why is that an insult?
Mm,
And it is. It's known to be an insult, and it's awful, really, because
mm,
now the world of self-care and is developing, and we are becoming more and more aware of mental health issues, body issues, disordered eating issues, all that kind of thing. Um, and hopefully things are starting to change, but we're becoming aware of the fact that actually we do need to love ourselves a little bit more. Now, I've been on a weight thing, I guess similar to what you were saying earlier. I've been on a weight thing all of my life, up and down, up and down,
mm.
and I find it's cringy, but you can look back on photographs of when you were younger, and you look from first instinct is, oh my God, look how thin I am, or look how
I
slim.
know.
But then if you put yourself back to that time, you actually felt enormous at that
Yeah,
time, didn't you? But now you'd
yeah,
give anything to look like how you did in that situation, because we're always thinking that whatever weight we are, whatever skin we have, whatever boobs we have, it's not good enough. And
yeah,
the standards, the things that we're comparing ourselves to, and the standards that are out there in the world, they're not even real. Like, they're so not even real. All the adverts, everything's airbrushed. And actually, there's some adverts, and I can't remember who it is. I think, did Dove do them? I can't remember, but they've started, and only very, very recently now, started putting adverts out with actual real
mm,
women in. And there's some shops, I can't remember which shops they are either, because I'm just not very observant. And they've started using like curvier mannequins and dummies and stuff in the
mm.
windows, because I mean, it's just, no, you can't get a mannequin that is representative of every woman on the planet. But if we look at the average, the overall size, shape, height, everything, we're so different. And why can't that difference, why can't that uniqueness be celebrated? Why do we all feel like we have to put ourselves in this if everyone followed the beauty trends, we would all look the same. We'd all have
Yeah,
the same lips. We'd all have the same shaped face. We'd all have the same shaped body. We'd all have the same size boobs. We'd all have the same size bum. We'd all have the same everything, and we would all look like flipping robots, and it'd be awful. It'd be weird. Um, but we're just, yeah, so these standards that have been, I guess, thrust upon us through the media, through growing up with a combination of the media, um we've got, especially our generation, I think we've got these absolute delusional pictures of what we should be looking like, and
and all
as
those people that go and have all that surgery and things, and you know how it got really big to have massive bums. So you used to have really small bums. Then it's become fashionable to have really big bums, and people have got fat sucked out of one area to stick into their bum and all stuff like that. And it's just crazy, but also quite worrying in terms of particularly plastic surgery. I've never had it. I mean, I can't say I won't ever because I don't know what the future holds. I don't think I would. I'm going grey. I dye my hair once a year and I only have highlights, so I don't even dye a full head of hair. So quite often I'm grey because I think we have to embody some of this stuff. It's going to happen, and I think unless you're a superstar and you've got loads of excess cash, how can you afford to invest all this money doing things. But that's the problem. That's the way society makes us feel. And people go and have all these. But however, I suppose there's the flip of that, isn't there? If you are so depressed because you hate yourself so much, and actually having a nose job or whatever it is you choose, a boob job, is going to transform your thinking and your mental health, is that so bad?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's looking at the reasons for it, isn't it? And if you can look at it and say, you don't like that part of your body because you just don't like that part of your body, or if it's a health thing as well, if you're like very overweight and you've tried lots of different things, but you just want to feel healthier and getting some weight off is gonna help, whether it's medication, an operation, whatever it might be. I don't think there's ever a reason to say no completely to all this stuff. But if you are doing it to look like what you think you should look like, rather than you're doing it because you want to look different. I know that sounds similar,
Mm.
but you get what I'm saying. I think it's about examining your intentions behind it. Um, yeah, that's my thought on it.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I try particularly when I'm going through a low ebb to stand in front of the mirror and pick out things that I like, but that can also be quite scary because then you are looking at. So for me, I have a real problem with my tummy, and I think it's got more since I've got older. I think that's a problem with even slim older people will say that that's the area, isn't it, of your
Yeah,
body that quite quickly changes. However, how good am I at trying to address that issue right now? I've got so much going on in my head and other things, not that good. So it's like I'm happy to moan about it and
yeah.
complain, but then what am I actually doing
Doing
about
about
it
it.
as well? So it's a bit of a catch 22, really,
Yeah.
because you have to, I mean, in my case, I need to take some ownership of that. And also in the lifestyle we all lead now, we've got much bigger chance or higher chance of us getting type 2 diabetes and things like that. And I was thinking, God, I need to really start thinking about these things, because just the way, like the sort of foods we eat these days, and so much more is processed and everything, that you have to be really considerate, don't you, to those things. And
I think, I was thinking about this the other day as well. We spend, I think, the first half of our, oh, like, I mean, I'm 44, so the first, like, half of my, or 2/3 of the life I've lived so far has been worrying about what I look like and thinking about my weight in terms of appearance. And then all of a sudden something changes. I don't know if it's an age thing, a hormone thing, what. And it's not so much now about what you look like, but about the fact things are breaking down on the inside and you need to actually take care of the stuff
and
that's
you want to
going on.
survive,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, oh, suddenly, actually, it's not that death's just around the corner, but it feels a little closer than when you're 22 and you feel like you're going to live forever.
Absolutely. And I think for me that seriously changed when I had Lily,
Yeah.
because suddenly I had this person. I was like, I want to see her grow up. I want to see her
Mhm.
have kids. I want to be a granny. Well, if she chooses to have children, she may
Yeah.
not, but you know what I mean. I want to see her grow and develop. And when it's just you, and I know obviously that we've got our families when we're younger and stuff, but when it's just you in terms of you're not responsible for somebody,
Yeah.
it's a bit easier, isn't it, to be a bit wild and all of those things. But yeah, definitely for me, that changing point was having Lily.
Mhm.
And now it is, I think, my mum's got type 1 diabetes. She got that very late in life. And
Yeah.
I think we're still not sure where it came from, because it came out of the blue. So we don't know if it's a COVID thing or what that was. But
Mhm.
it's definitely opens your eyes to lifestyle a lot more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of that affects our bodies and affects our body
Absolutely.
image and how others view us and how we view ourselves, etc., etc. Because diabetes, for example, has now quite a cool is they've made, because you know how people used to wear the patch that they have the things on their arms so they can scan and get their blood
Oh,
sugars.
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Because quite a few young people have type 1 diabetes, it's seen
Mhm.
now as not an ugly thing. It's more
No,
cool,
it's
it's more
been
accepted.
normalized, kind
Yeah, and
of.
a bit
Yeah.
like, remember, like wearing glasses. So back in the day when I first had to wear glasses at school, it was when the NHS did one frame basically
Yeah.
prescription. Ugly as hell. You just
Yep.
look like a geek. But
Yeah.
now people who don't even need glasses will wear glasses with clear lenses in, because
Yeah.
they just want to change their look. So
Yeah.
even things like that have gone full circle, haven't they?
Yeah, it's funny. And actually, just when you were talking there, thinking about, the impact that how we feel about our physical appearance, the impact that has on our mental health as well, and how, because I can wake up feeling, oh, today's going to be a good day. You get dressed, your jeans feel a bit tight, you look in the mirror and you're bloated, or, whatever's going on, and then suddenly that day doesn't feel as nice anymore. And it's not because anything horrendous has happened. It's just because you've turned your focus inwards towards some self-critical thought. And what you were saying before about taking ownership and actually doing something about it, I think a lot of the time that comes down to where you are in your head as well. I mean, I've been on a weight loss up and down. I say journey, it's been more like a flipping roller coaster with twizzles in the middle, my entire life. And the only time I've ever lost weight is when I have been happy. I honestly believe that you can't lose weight if you're miserable or you're sad. So I released a little while, I think it was actually this time last year, I released a program called Mindset Meditations for Weight Loss. And it's all about, and this is just a complete shameless plug, but if you're interested, let me know.
Mm.
And it was really successful. I just had a small group of, it was ladies who did it. And oh my God, the results were phenomenal. I say it was just ladies, it wasn't, because Paul did it as well. I lost 11 pounds, and it was just over was it is it a month, is it 6 weeks, I can't remember. Anyway, I lost 11 pounds. There was another lady lost 12 pounds. There was another lady who wasn't weighing herself, but she dropped 2 dress sizes. Paul lost
Blimey.
7 pounds. It was phenomenal. And it's about looking at weight loss in a different way, because the weight loss industry and the beauty industry, as we've just been talking about, is very much geared around make changes because you hate yourself. And what I wanted to do was actually guide people through the process, because they love themselves rather than
Mm.
hating themselves. So this program is daily meditations for, I think it's 4 weeks. I can't remember, but I'll put a link in somewhere and we can have a look at it. So yeah, daily, like 15-minute meditations, and it's all about reprogramming your brain. It's about gratitude for yourself. I do some that's like angelic healing and things like that, but it's looking at loving your body. And one of the most popular meditations as part of the program is actually talking to your fat cells, because I honestly believe the reason we hold on to excess fat cells is because we have well, there's a couple of reasons. Part of it is it's stuck trauma, it's stuck memories, it's stuck beliefs about not being good enough. It's all the stuck shame and guilt that we carry, and we carry it all as like these excess fat cells in our body. And I think that these fat cells stick around to protect us and keep us safe, so that, however it works for me,
Mm.
I think it's linked to a fear of success, because if I was 100% confident in the way I looked, I would put myself out there so much more. If you're bigger, then I've got an excuse to, oh, well, I'll release that when I lose weight. I'll do that
Mm.
once I'm thinner. When I'm happier with myself, that's when I'll do that. So it's almost like a way of protecting yourself from any potential hurt in the future. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it does make sense. And if you think about even this podcast, Shelley,
Mm.
we've not yet recorded one episode where we've published it, because whenever we record, because we are pre-recording these to, because obviously everybody's really busy, um, we always look pretty plain, hair on our head. Like today, we've got no makeup on either of us, and but actually that's us being normal people.
Normal.
And
Yeah.
we, both of us, have said we can't put a video out looking like that. We have to do it. And we've done our hair and put a bit of makeup on. And so we are doing exactly what we say we shouldn't
Yeah.
be doing.
Completely. And just because we can talk about it doesn't mean that we've got it, all down. Doesn't mean that we are and I guess this is one of the reasons why I like what we're doing with this, because we can be honest about it. I'm not sitting here saying to the world, oh, this is how you should be and this is how I am, blah, blah, blah. I'm absolutely in there with everyone else who carries these fears and
Mm.
insecurities. I think I have become very, very good at covering up my fears and insecurities, and a lot of the world don't know I even carry them. And as I said earlier, you'd see us wandering around up on a stage talking, or whatever else we're
Yeah.
doing, and no one would ever even guess for 1 minute that actually we're quaking on the inside because we don't like the way that we look. But I honestly think that change can only come about by loving yourself, into health, into a better shaped body, whatever your aims and your goals are. I think it comes, I think whether you want to call it ugliness or fatness or whatever else, I think it comes from hate, like self-hatred and
Mm.
fear. And the only way to make any changes is to find a way of loving yourself for who you are at this moment. And that is when the positive change actually comes.
Mm.
If you try to lose weight hating yourself, it's not maintainable. It can't last. You've
Yeah.
got to enjoy the process. And I guess it's the same with law of attraction, isn't it? You can't manifest something from a place of fear and misery. You've got to get happy and then you manifest it. You live as if you've already got it, and then the thing that you want will appear in your life. And I think whether it's health or whether it's image, I think that is exactly the same. You've got to turn your thoughts about yourself around before the physical changes that you're wanting to see can actually take place. Because our bodies, there's such clever things, and there's only so much. I genuinely believe there's only so much that the medical world actually knows about the way that we work. And if all these companies and products and things to help us lose weight or look better, if that was the actual answer to things, then why are we not all walking around as beautiful, slim, gorgeous skin? Why is it?
Yeah.
And actually,
Yeah.
if you look at older people, particularly women who look good, they've never followed strict diets or used all these expensive products or makeup or anything else. They are good and they are healthy and look 10 years younger than what they are at 90, because actually they've eaten fresh fruit and veg. They've lived happy lives. They've been
Mm.
grateful for what they've got. They talk to whether it's the universe, the energy out there, whoever they believe in, and they have spent a life, or a good chunk of their life, actually appreciating themselves and their body rather than criticizing themselves and their bodies.
Yeah. Well, my grand's 95 and she's just like that. Really positive outlook. Um, she left her third husband 5 years ago because he wasn't making her happy. And she's
Yeah,
like, no, I've still got a long life left. I want to be happy. And that really has an impact on her. She looks 10 years younger than she is. She is like a proper grandma, traditional with her cooking. And back in the day, you'd cook pies and all of those
yeah,
things, and like now you'd be like, oh, there's a million calories in a pie, you can't eat a pie. But
yeah.
probably the pies we buy in shops are processed with loads of other crap. If we just
Yep.
made our own pie, it'd be
Hmm.
completely different. So I totally agree with all of that. And also I was thinking about, for me, I think I started having issues as a child because it's at that point, because when you are little, you don't recognize if you're fat, thin, um, blonde hair, black hair, whatever. But when you get to school age and then other people start calling it out and bullying and things. So for me, it all started happening in primary school when I was obviously a bigger girl and I would get bullied for it. And those feelings haven't gone, because it's like any, like you say, traumatic thing that happens in your life, you carry a bit of it with you. And that's not to say that I'm not guilty. In all honesty, if you were going to describe somebody, you might be describing somebody in a TV show or something. You go, "Oh, the fat one," or "the fatter one," and it's not funny, Shelley, because it's bad, isn't it? But I do that sometimes. But yeah, some bugger out there is probably saying when they're seeing pictures of me and all my mates, "Oh yeah, look at the fat one on the end." It's usually me.
No, it's awful.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of the first things that we judge about people, though, isn't it? I guess it's just how we do it. I had a similar experience, and I remember this vividly. We were in primary school, and well, I was first school, so it was before I went up to middle, so I'd be about is it nine we go up to middle school, so I'd be about 8. And we were doing this project where you had to lie on a giant piece of paper on the floor, someone would draw around you, then you'd have to paint it to look like you, and then you had all like your stats and figures written on the inside, so there was height, weight,
Oh,
age, stuff like that. So for a 9-year-old, you would think this wouldn't even be a thing. It's just like, well,
yeah.
that's what it is. But I was always, and looking back as a parent now, looking back, I see pictures of myself in first school. And so, God, I always felt like I was like, I'm going to use words like chubby and chunky. And we were
Mm.
told, well, when we were writing descriptions about ourselves, I was always told to use the word stocky. What a fucking horrible word. And stocky. Oh, nah, it just makes me want to vomit. But what horrible way to describe someone. And I remember totally freaking out and going to Mr. Hogg, my teacher at the time, and he was there, he was the headmaster of the school. And I remember standing in his office and I was crying my eyes out with anxiety because I was so terrified of everyone seeing the fact I would weigh more than everyone else in the class. Now, also bear in mind that I grew up on a farm. I was fed properly. I'm not judging
Mm.
anyone, but I was fed properly. And I was a head taller than everybody else in my year, the girls. I was broader. I was just built better. That's just, that just was my structure. This is what I'm like
Yeah.
now. Um, but a lot of the kids that were in my class, as I say, I wasn't a fat child in the slightest looking back. But I have carried a memory of being a fat child because that situation taught me that I was a fat child,
Mm.
even though that wasn't a truth. That's the truth my head interpreted from the situation and the pain that it caused me at the time. And I remember my teacher turning around and he was getting quite exasperated, saying, "Why is this even a big deal?" And apparently there was another girl who had been in crying about having to do this activity. Bless her, and she was a lovely, lovely girl. And she was like stick thin. But she was very, very tall, especially for a 9-year-old. She was like literally a head. I mean, I was a head taller than everyone else. She was another head taller than me.
Oh,
She'd been in crying because she didn't want anyone else to see how tall she actually was. Uh,
yeah.
and to me, I'm like, well, why would that bother anyone seeing how tall you were? And to her, she's probably thinking, well, why would it bother anyone seeing what you
Mm.
weighed? But it just shows you the stuff that we carry. Now, if you think about the fact that our beliefs about anything are based on memory. So I have this memory, okay, that has like imprinted into my life journey to the fact that I'm now 44, and even just talking about it, I can still feel the shame and the anxiety and the panic and the lack of self-worth I felt standing in that office at 9 years old. You'd be exactly the same if you sat and thought about those moments of being bullied in
Mm.
primary school, the shame, the stuff that, what the questions, the confusion, why am I even being picked on for these sorts of things? That then grows into a constant message of, right, well, I'm not the same as these other people who are bullying me, or I'm not the same as these other people who are in my class. Therefore, I'm the one in the wrong. I'm doing it wrong. And if I'm doing it wrong, I'm not good enough. So if I continue to have a body that is like this, I'm just not good enough. End of. So this belief is then formed at primary school age. We then continue to move into middle school and then into teenage life, where it is just reinforced over and over and over again by Just 17 magazine or whatever it is that we were reading back then. Remember Just 17?
Oh, yes, I used to get that. Yes, I do.
And then you know what? With our generation going through the 90s, it was all like oh, what's the name? The famous supermodel, but it's like heroin waif kind of
Kate Moss and
Kate Moss.
things.
Yeah, they were so tiny, tiny little people. And that's what was fashionable. That's what was trendy. Now
Mm.
it is much more fashionable to be curvy, to have a bum. And I tell you what, there is no one on this planet more grateful for the day that that became a trend. However, even now, even though it's everywhere about curvy women, curvy bums, all the rest of it, in my head, I can look at those and go, and that's lovely. That is beautiful. They are beautiful for them. But I can't put myself in that category at all.
Mm.
Even though I fit that category on paper, I can't. I can't do it. maybe since I won't do it. There is just this absolute belief deep inside, I am not good enough, being the shape, the weight, the figure, etc. The image, the body that I have just is not good enough. Now, if you think about the fact that our cells, I'm on a rampage now, so, just let me go. If you think about the fact that our cells, okay, think of the cells in our body, be the fat cells, be them cells in our heart, in our bones, fingernails, whatever. Our cells are living. They are part of us, the part of that make us up. And I like to think of ourselves as having little personalities. When I do a lot of my healing work, I actually talk to organs and things like that, and we get some great results. But if you think about the fact that we've spent, well, let's cut, I don't know, 7 years out of my life, because that was the first 7. So I'm 44 now. What's 44 take away 7? 37, something like that. We'll go with that. So I have
Your
spent,
maths is as good as mine.
give me words any day. I have spent literally 37 years. Okay, so that's 37 years of 12 months of, 4 weeks a month of 7 days a week criticizing my body. 37 years where I will tell myself daily what I look like is not good enough. Now, if you as a person were doing a job, and you'd done that job for 37 years, and every day your boss told you were shit, you're not good enough, you're not doing it right, this isn't how you're supposed to behave, you're not performing well enough, you don't fit in, would you work better for those messages?
No.
You wouldn't, would you? You'd be miserable. You'd be more likely to perform slower. You wouldn't be able
Mm.
to do the job that you were there to do. Turn it around and start talking to your body in a positive way, and your cells then start to work. So if you are carrying extra weight because of fluid retention, because of hormones, because of thyroid issues, or whatever else, your body starts to work better. Your metabolism starts to work better when you start talking to your body in a certain way. If you were to follow, and I honestly believe this, if you were to be an absolute law of attraction, like just so spot on, absolutely amazing, you could literally manifest anything just simply with a thought. There was no hidden beliefs, no blockages there. I believe you could spend a lifetime eating cakes and biscuits and burgers, and they wouldn't be bad for you. It wouldn't cause you heart disease, it wouldn't clog your arteries, it wouldn't make you put on weight. You could live a healthy life. But we've been so programmed to believe all this stuff's bad for us for, generation after generation, that it is now bad for us. And I don't think, as in our lifetime, I don't think humans will ever be able to bring in the belief that, eating burgers for 3 meals a day is going to be good for you. Because I just have to sniff a burger and I put on about a stone. It's just the way my body works. But I honestly think a lot of it comes down to belief. And so, okay, so we treat ourselves to a piece of cake, right? Oh, I'm going to just look at the language. I'm going to be good all week, and then I'm going to have a cheat meal at the
Yeah.
weekend. I'm going to have a treat of a piece of cake. Okay. If you've been trying to lose weight because you hate your body and you give yourself a treat of a bit of cake at the weekend, can you eat that cake without eating guilt at the same time? You
No,
can't.
you can't.
Literally, that cake doesn't even taste like chocolate or carrot cake or cream cheese frosting
Yeah.
or cream cheese frosting, Helen. Um, lush. It doesn't. It is literally you're not eating that cake and enjoying it. The whole experience is spoiled by pure guilt and shame. And you know what?
Mm.
You can maybe get it down and go, oh, that was lush. And then what? Literally 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bugger, I shouldn't have eaten that. You can't
Exactly.
just eat it and enjoy it. So as we're doing it, all these beliefs that this stuff's bad for me, and a little bit of everything in moderation, apart from
Mm.
heroin, is a good thing. Not
God.
gonna go there. But a couple of glasses of wine is a couple of
Mm.
glasses of wine. That's not 3 bottles of wine. A couple of glasses of wine on a weekend. That, a little, everything in moderation. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of sugar or a little bit of cream cheese frosting or whatever.
Mm.
But we're so like down on ourselves, and we can't even enjoy the stuff that we allow ourselves to have because it's coated in I should not be doing this.
So what can you do to, how can we change that programming? And obviously one of the ways is speaking to ourselves, but if we are feeling this negative about ourselves, how do we then start to try and change that voice and start saying positive things? In what way would you do it? Would you look into a mirror, like, you know, if you're getting ready for work that day, you've put on an outfit, you think, yeah, looks great, and then you go to the mirror and you notice a bulge or something, you know, how do we get over that then? Is there a top tip for trying to start addressing this?
So, you know what? I don't, and I'm getting squiggly on the inside, even just talking about it, because this, out of everything when it comes to spirituality and positive vibration and everything, out of everything, I think I've got a lot of it cracked apart from this stuff. This is my
Mm.
big pitfall, my big downfall. God, I'm even getting emotional just thinking about it.
Oh.
Um,
But that's good because, you know, many women and men out there will be feeling the same way. And we have to be able to talk about these things. And
Absolutely. But how many people, and this, I think what might be one of the most upsetting things is the fact that you know what, we carry this and we're just so good at putting on, covering it up with makeup or covering it up with a big cardigan. Or I guess for me, it's personal. I cover what I look like up with personality
oh,
because
me
I.
too.
I will, you walk into a room and rather than having everyone look at you, you'll say something funny or you'll go into performance mode. And it's the listen to me and think I'm great for being knowledgeable or wise or entertaining. And maybe if they focus on that, they won't look at my tummy or my thighs or my legs or whatever else. Um, and it's just, and how many people do this? How many people like find a way to distract people from what they actually look like and make it look like we're confident, make it look like I can think of so many women that I know who do this sort of thing. And as I say, for us, we'll turn into the entertainers. For other people, they'll turn into the people pleasers. Let me get you a drink. I'll go this. Do you want me to go here with you? Oh, I got you this present. They'll distract from themselves by
Mm.
doing something like that. And I'm quite well. I say I'm surprised about getting upset about it, but I'm okay that I'm upset about it. If you know what I mean, it's just something. My nose is running now. It's just something that I've carried for such a long time that hurts so deeply that and you asked me, how to fix it, and I can give you, and I guess this is maybe the next step, isn't it? I can give you all of the spiel. Well, you make a decision, Helen, this is what you do. And you do your affirmations, Helen, this is what you do. And you just you write positive statements and you stick them around your bathroom wall and you do meditations about self-worth and you do healing and everything else. And I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a million things out there that can help you to feel better about yourself, but you have to do them. And I will do meditations about I don't know, about money, about business success. I'll do angelic connection stuff. I'll do spiritual connection stuff. When it comes to body stuff, and this is one of the reasons why I put the mindset meditations for a weight loss program together. It was for me. I did it for me. So I would force myself for, 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever it is to actually do some healing for myself
Mm.
around this situation because it just, I don't know, I think out of everything, it just runs so deep. I mean, I've had counseling, like, I mean, not at the moment, but I've been in and out of different counselors for years about body image and weight, disordered eating, all sorts of stuff. I'm going to be really careful if I put myself on a diet because it just triggers off this, I guess, stream of thoughts about, well, why can't you eat that? It's because you're fat. It's because you're ugly. It's because you're not good enough. There's no, I guess my head works in a very extreme way. The fact that, it takes a lot for me to turn it around into something positive. And when I do, it's good and it works and it's brilliant and I can, stick to eating more healthy things. But getting into that headspace of, right, I want to make improvements because I actually love myself and I want to treat myself better. One of the things I guess that pisses me off about this world, and I don't know if I've mentioned it before, is, we're very into self-care now. It's very trendy, it's popular, love yourself, take care of yourself, do things for you. But I will, and I don't know if anyone else is the same. I'm sure there will be some people listening that are. I will convince myself. So Friday night comes, the kids maybe sit at the dad's, Paul's doing a D&D thing, and I will convince myself that self-care for me that night is a bar of chocolate, a pizza, and a couple of glasses of wine. And in that moment, I feel relaxed and it's nice. And I'm snuggled up on the sofa with my book and the dog or a movie on or whatever, stuff in my face. And oh, that in that moment feels like relaxation, but it doesn't feel like relaxation an hour later or the day
No.
after. It certainly
Yeah.
isn't. And that stuff isn't self-care. That stuff is it's a sticky plaster that looks like cheese and pepperoni, or that looks like Ben and Jerry's. It's a sticky plaster that because we are, or because I am feeling feelings that I don't want to feel, I will cover them up with pizza and with wine and with chocolate
Mm.
or crisps or whatever else. And it's even formed a thing now where I associate relaxation with food. And I have had to have conversations with myself in my head about the fact you can relax, you can find peace and relaxation without eating this sort of stuff. You absolutely can. But I do still carry beliefs that, I can't relax, I can't have a Friday night off without treat food.
Mm.
And yeah, so I don't know where I was
It's
going with
funny
that.
because I'm a bit like that with alcohol. I've in my head now, I've convinced myself that I don't drink very much.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a big drinker, but when I do, I suppose you'd call me a binge drinker. When I'm socially out, I then have
Go for it. Yeah.
wine or whatever. But I don't really drink that much in the house. It would be if I had somebody over for dinner or
Yeah.
something, rather than like tonight. I won't be sat there and just having a glass of wine. I just don't do that. But when I'm with people
Mhm.
in a social setting, for me, then I'm like, to be in that social setting, it's really nice to have wine.
Yeah.
And actually, it could be just as nice to be in that social setting without wine. But for me, it is that thing of that's now the connotation I've made. I've made like, right, I'm going out, so I don't want to drive. I want to have a way. Like, I'll get the train.
Yeah.
I want to be able to. If I choose to have a drink, I can have a drink. If I don't, I don't. Um, and it is. I see what you're saying because it's how we then our brains attach some meaning
Yeah.
to these
It
things and
links it up. It links it up. And again, it's just habitual thinking. It's a habit that has then developed into a belief. And that's what we have to, I was going to say attack, that sounds harsh. That's what we have to unravel, isn't it? We have to
mm,
get into the actually, what am I covering up? And if it's a social situation, it's probably insecurities about yourself. Am I going to fit in with these people? Am I going to be funny enough? Am I going to look nice enough? And actually, to have a drink, well, after a glass of wine, you're not that bothered about those
yeah,
things.
you let go of it, don't you?
Yeah, everyone's laughing and having a nice time. So I guess it's about looking at these crutches that we turn to and identifying, well, what is it I am trying to cover up? What am I sticking a plaster over
Mm,
here? Why is just sitting on the sofa on a Friday night with my book, why is that not good enough? Why do I have to have all this other
mm,
stuff? Why is going out and drinking, fizzy water or lemonade or what? Why is that not good enough? Why would that not make for a brilliant night out just as much as getting pissed or stuff in your face or whatever it is that we turn to? And it's because we're covering stuff up. For me, and I've asked myself this a million times, I've done cards about it, I have meditated about it, and I know the answers. And I think, and it is, don't get me wrong, I am working on it. I can actually put my hand on my heart and say, you know what, I do own this. I am working on it. I just have, and again, these beliefs come from years and years of reinforced thoughts and thought patterns. And I have just, I guess my body is carrying so much evidence that tells me I'm not good enough, that it's going to take quite a bit of time to go through each piece of evidence,
mm.
unravel it and rewrite it. But I
As
am.
the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. And I
No,
think
it
this is the
wasn't.
thing, isn't it? And for me, this is where I struggle because I'm very impatient and I like to see results like that.
Yeah.
And so, like I've started I've started doing at home a few weights. And I'm like, after doing it for like 5 days in a row, oh, nothing's changed. Like, come on. I mean, surely I can feel a bit of a muscle in there.
Yeah.
Clearly, nothing's going to happen in 5 days, but I have no patience. So for me, it's like a two-ended challenge then. It's the
Yeah.
mental challenge that I've got to keep going with it versus the physical challenge of keep going. And for me, my battle is that getting my mindset in the right place. Because I think about 5 or 6 years ago, I did Slimming World and I lost like 3 stone,
Uh-huh.
not even through doing any exercise, purely through the way I changed my food.
Yeah.
And then life stuff changed and I've put all that on and probably more.
Yeah.
And then each year, and I buy a different size clothes. Well, not each year, that's a bit exaggerating. But, when you start moving into the next dress bracket,
Yeah.
you kind of can make an excuse for it. And that's what I do. That's
Yeah.
my failing. So I'm trying to address those things. So I think really, listeners, what we're saying is there's no top tip of a
No.
clear and fast rule with this. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's an individual journey for each person. And a lot of it is around that mental thinking and taking it step by step. So, probably why it is such a difficult subject and why you got upset visibly on this, and I feel that often inside the way. That's why we feel that way.
Yeah. And I honestly believe that, to be able to deal with anything long term, because like you say, you can do these different diet programs and stuff, but unless you address the underlying issues, the underlying beliefs, the underlying reasons as to why you don't have a good relationship with food, your body, exercise, whatever it is, I don't think anything will change on a sustainable level. You can do it, you can maintain it for a few months, lose this weight, that's great. But the fact that, both you and I have done exactly that, dropped like 3 stone, and then over the next year or whatever, it's all sucked back on.
Yeah.
The reason it has is because we never addressed our relationship with food. We just did the surface stuff, right? Made these changes. But actually, if anyone had asked us underneath, we would have said, no, I don't want to be eating this salad. I want to be eating the pizza, but I'm doing it because I have to, because this is what I've
Yeah.
committed to. But if we can get to grips with the relationship we have with food, with our body, with the different crutches we have, like alcohol or whatever, if we can start to understand the trauma, the hurt, the pain, the beliefs that sit underneath it, I think that's when weight falls off. That's when health comes about. That's when habits can be broken. Um, as I have clearly demonstrated today, I am not there. And I think it can take a long time to actually get there, but you don't get there without acknowledging that there's something going on underneath it. Because just taking yourself off to a weight loss class or signing up for something online, I don't think you can get long-term sustainable changes unless you actually deal with the emotions and the beliefs that are trapped underneath what the problem is in the first place.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I
Big
mean,
one.
that was a heavy session for us.
Yeah.
I hope that some of you listening will resonate and be in a similar thought pattern as Shelley and I. And
Well, I
look,
hope you're not, because I hope you're confident and happy.
well, that's true, but let's be realistic. We know even people that we've already defined as perfect will have
Yeah.
insecurities. So really, guys, we've got to go on a journey with it. We've got to go on a journey. We've got to get to the core, the root of the problem, and do a bit of investment work around that. I think that's probably what we'd say our top tip was this week.
Yeah.
I do love a top tip.
Do the work. Do the work. Do the work.
Absolutely. So I think that's brought us to a lovely good place to close this week. And loved every second as always with you, Shelley. And thank you for being so honest with us about how you're feeling.
That all kind of just came out. It certainly wasn't planned. I couldn't really help it. But you know what? I'm not bothered, because one of the things I do love about myself is that I am authentic, and I am very passionate about the fact I am authentic, and I won't hide you know, who I am. I won't pretend to be the most perfect spiritual guru in the whole history of the universe. I have shit going on. I have problems. I have unhelpful beliefs. I have, you know, all sorts of stuff that goes on beneath the surface, that a lot of my customers and followers would never really see because, you know, they wouldn't see me in that sort of way.
Yeah.
But I don't ever pretend to be anything that I'm not, and I do have these issues. And what I will say is I am going to put some trigger warnings on in the description for this episode, because I don't want anyone listening that could get upset or affected by what the kind of things that we're talking
Yeah.
about.
But thank you for joining us again. Obviously, as we always say, please like, subscribe, follow. We've got our social media channels on Instagram and Facebook. Please come and look up Spirit Rebels. You'll find us. Any comments and feedback, we're always very grateful for. And yeah, just reach out. If you want to reach out, please reach out via social media. Not that we are amazing with advice or anything, but if you ever want to just reach out, we'll try and answer any questions you have. And just thank you for listening and joining us every week. It means an awful lot to us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was just going to say that if anyone is interested, I know I've not exactly sold myself as being an expert on this topic today, but if you do want to take this a little bit further and have any extra support, my like readings and sessions and things like that, I might be able to help you. And if nothing else, I can certainly understand where you're coming from. So Shelley at shelleymagic.com. I am here for you, my loves.
Oh, that's
And
brilliant.
next week, I think we're making things a bit lighter and funner, and we're going witchy, and we're talking about the
The
moon.
moon, yes. So we look forward to speaking to you all again next week, and have good weeks, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.